Hello everybody, Tracy Coughlin here with For Real Consulting, and I wanted to talk today about lead generation. So I'm going to read to you a definition that I pulled from the Webster's Dictionary, and it says, the definition of lead generation is the action or process of identifying and cultivating potential customers for a business's product or services. Okay, let me break it down to you. For years I've been talking to people about lead generation. Lead generation is talking to people. That's it. It's just talking to people. There's nothing complicated about this. I'm going to be as bold as to say, if you don't like to talk to people, you're probably in the wrong business. You've got to talk to people, and you've got to listen to people. And we know that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and we should be doing a little bit more listening than talking. But that's really the goal, is just getting out and talking to people. And what does that look like for you? Is it... are you the kind of person who is okay with a large group of people, or do you like small groups of people? I can get up in front of a room of 200 people, no problem, whereas some people have a problem with that. They like a smaller group. Are your children involved in sports activities? Do you go to a lot of games? Those are your people there. Or dance or gymnastics or any number of those things. Do you belong to a bowling league? Do you volunteer at a school? Wherever your people are, you need to be talking about what it is that you're doing. That is the entire meaning and definition of lead generation, is just talking to people and letting them know what you do. Now, the balance is to do it without being salesy, right? Without being this pushy salesperson. And there's a way to do it with social media and talking to them in person. As a realtor, we must dedicate 2 to 3 hours a day, consistently. And I mean that in big, bold letters. It can't be on a Tuesday and a Friday. It can't be on a Monday and a Saturday. It's got to be every day, even if it's only an hour a day. You need to be doing it Monday through Friday at minimum, so that you have that consistency and you have that momentum going, and you're staying in touch with the people that you need to be staying in touch with. I have a graphic that I'm gonna share here in this, and it's the real estate roller coaster. And I joke because I don't know if I invented it or if I stole it from someone, but I have it. and what it is it's a roller coaster, and realtors tend to live here for 80% of their careers. And I know a lot of agents that are there their entire career. And what I mean by the roller coaster is you start off being very optimistic, and you've got business cards, and you're a real live realtor, and you're ready to go, and you're talking to people, and you got this exhilaration going, and people are ready to work with you, and you're showing houses, and you're even starting to write contracts, and you're up on this upswing, and things are going really, really well, and you hit this point of euphoria, and then you actually have your closing. But then all of a sudden you have this pit in your stomach, and you realize, I don't have any clients for next month. I don't have any clients for 3 months from now, because you didn't lead generate. And this goes into then you start to get kind of sad. You actually think about maybe picking up an Uber gig to make some extra money, because now you don't know what to do, and you've got pessimism, and you're, oh wow, what did I do? Why did I get into this business? And then you jump back into action again, and you start lead generating again, and this time you have 2 or 3 closings. The goal here is to avoid this up and down thing. And when you lead generate, you kind of stay in that center, and you have your ups and you have your downs, and you have your better months and your lower months. But as a new agent, I always recommend that your goal is 12 transactions, because that means that you're doing approximately 1 a month. So you've got that. And of course, this is if you're a full-time agent. You've got that 1 a month, and you've got that consistency. Once you reach 12 transactions, it's kind of easy to double it to 24 and then to 48. I've seen it done over and over again, because once you create those systems and you find out where your niche is and who your people are, then you get rich in a niche, and you just continually grow it and grow it and grow it. But that consistency is goal, and not doing the roller coaster is really, really, really important. And the only way to avoid that is lead generation. So the reality of being a business owner is that you're going to spend that 80% of the time in your job. So the 20% of the time has to be lead generating. I like to say that you should stack your ways of staying in touch with people. And what I mean by that is you always want to start relationships with people with a personal relationship. So that's, meeting them one-on-one, having coffee, breaking bread. after your coffee or meeting with them, sending out a handwritten note or a card, keeping that relationship as warm and as an actual relationship than just a transaction about to happen. So once you've created that relationship with the person, then you want to make sure that you add them to your social media, whatever it is that you use, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're using. Make sure they're there so they can see your daily posts, your things that you're talking about. Make sure that you are including your clients in your pop-by gifts. Make sure you're doing pop-by gifts, client appreciation events, fundraising or community events. All of these things need to happen first before you add them to an email. I tell people that you have to earn the right to send an email. And what I mean by that is currently on my phone, I have 83,583 emails unread. For you A personalities out there, you're probably having a little bit of anxiety, right? You want to take my phone and you want to clean it up. The reason is, now that's not my work email, that's all my emails combined. But the reason is that I get a lot of emails that I don't care about. And unless I know you, I'm not opening your email because it's probably some spam or something that you're trying to sell or something like that. But if I know you, if I've created a relationship with you and your email come across, I'm going to see it and I'm going to open it. So you have to earn the right to send an email. I think email campaigns are great. I think that CRMs are great. But you don't want to just meet someone at an open house and then start sending these emails immediately. It makes it very impersonal and they kind of get annoyed. I do anyway, so I'm using my experience. Once you create that relationship with them, once you've got them in your database, you've got them on your CRM, you're sending out gifts from time to time, you're doing what you need to be doing, they're eventually going to become a client in one way or another. Either they're going to refer someone to you, or they're going to list their home, or they're going to buy a home. Real estate is about timing, and it's about, you may meet someone and they don't need you for 3 years, but if you're in front of them enough, they will refer you to people who ask about real estate or mention real estate. You want to be top of mind. That's your entire goal in real estate, is to be top in mind. When you think of a burger, what do you think of? A lot of people say McDonald's. It's top of mind. You hear the commercials, you see the logo, it's embedded in your brain, and you want it to be the same way. And again, you want to do this without being the person who verbally vomits on social media and constant business. So when it comes to social media, I say that you should have about a 75-25 percentage rule. And what I mean by that is 75% needs to be personal, 25% needs to be business. So if you're a person who posts daily, I would say out of 5 posts, 1 of them needs to be business and the rest need to be personal. Now, how personal you get is up to you, but again, part of this long-term business strategy is to create relationships with people, and people work with people that they like. So they're going to find that they align with you on many different levels. It could be something as simple as you're both grandparents, or you both like wine, or whatever. They're creating a relationship with you through social media, and it's important that you're putting the things that you're passionate about, the things that you love to do on there. So for me, everybody on social media knows I love tequila. It's a given because we talk about it all the time on social media. I get tequila as gifts often, so it's a good tip. But they know me. They know who I am. I am who I am in person, the same person I am on social media. And they like me, and that's why they want to work with me. It's not just because I'm talking about business all the time. We all have these friends who sell different things, and maybe toothpaste or vitamins or beauty products, and every one of their posts is about that. That's verbal vomit to me. You're just interested in business and you're not interested in creating a relationship with me. So it's a really important piece. We can use social media for good, not evil. It irritates me from time to time too, but it's a way to reach a lot of people. So be positive, be yourself. 4 out of 5 posts are about you personally, and then you talk about business at the same time. The database, we're going to do a whole other class on that, but it is very, very important to have some type of database where you can use it as a pipeline and as a a way of staying in touch with your people. The database that works for you is the database you should use. I actually had a client who asked me if they still made Rolodexes, and I got on Amazon and they still make Rolodexes. So if you want to use a Rolodex, then by all means use a Rolodex. If you want to use a fancy CRM, then use a fancy CRM. The problem with databases, and the reason people don't have great ones, is because they're overwhelmed with the process. So use a spreadsheet. Start with that. Then if you want to import it into a CRM, you can, but you've got to, whatever you're going to actually use. So paper, computer, whatever works. But having that database is vital to be able to make sure that you stay in touch with everybody. So I was a coach for Brian Buffini for many years. I'm still a certified coach with him. And he talks about the mayoral campaign. So I want to talk about that real quick because it's all relevant to lead generation. The theory is that when you're running for office, say you're running for mayor or some kind of political campaign, you get up every day and you hit the campaign trail and you knock doors and you shake hands and you kiss babies while you're creating that relationship with people, trying to get them to vote for you. Think about yourself as a realtor. Have you knocked doors? Have you shaken hands? Have you kissed babies? Don't shake babies, just kiss babies. Does everyone know what you do? Are you doing a great job? Do they know that you've done a great job? Have you stayed in touch with them? Will they vote for you for a realtor when it comes to selecting a realtor? That's basically the same concept. So run your mayoral campaign as a realtor campaign and get out there and knock doors and shake hands and kiss babies. Another big piece for me in lead generation is finding out what your niche is and who your people are. And I really do believe you can get rich in a niche. So what's a niche? A niche is, farming, a neighborhood. I personally did open houses and farming, and that's how I sold $63 million in real estate in 2005. And eventually built my way up to that by those two simple tasks. Those were my thing, that was my niche. And I didn't need to do anything else. Some people are fantastic on the phone, and they like to do, call expireds and FISBOs. For me, that would be horrifying, but some people are really good at it. So you have to play with all of these different things and find out what your niche is. Are you a veteran? Are you working with military people? Do you understand VA loans? Do you understand the process that they have to go through? Have you gone through it yourself? You're going to be more qualified to work with a veteran than I am if you're a vet, right? Because you've literally been in the hole. You've experienced the same life that they have. So that makes you more qualified, in my opinion, than it would be for me. Do you belong to wine groups? Do you skydive? I mean, what do you do in your life that you can find your niche of people? When my children were growing up, they were raised in the industry, and I got very involved in the school, and I would volunteer, and I would, by the time the kids were in second or third grade, I had pretty much moved everybody into that neighborhood because I got very involved in the school and the kids' activities, and I was there all the time. So those were my people. I did open houses, and I farmed that neighborhood, and that's how I built my career there. I did what I was already doing in life and then worked my real estate career into that, and they just gelled very, very easily. So you've got to find your niche. You've got to find out what you're good at. Are you a senior or getting close to be a senior? Do you just love working with seniors? There's the SRES that you can get, the Senior Real Estate Specialist designation, and work with seniors. Again, you're going to be more respected if you're one of them or if you belong there. I often have people say, I want to farm a neighborhood that's $1 million neighborhood. Well, my first question is, do you belong there? Do you live there yourself? Do you know someone who lives there? Did you grow up there? To go and jump into a neighborhood that you know nothing about or have no reason to be there, it's a lot harder hill to climb. So, farming your own neighborhood is definitely a niche. It's a reason to be there. So let's talk about farming really quick. There's a whole class on farming, but farming is a lead generation activity, and it's silly if you're not doing it, especially in your own neighborhood. If you own a home and you live in a neighborhood, at minimum, you should be farming your own neighborhood. And what I mean by farming is you're planting seeds to let people know that you live in the neighborhood, and you are a realtor. There's nothing worse than pulling up to your home one night and finding a competitor sign in the yard next door because your neighbor didn't know that you sold real estate. The biggest reason that you want to farm your neighborhood is that you're vested. You live there. You have a reason to be there, right? And because you're vested and because you live there, you're not going to undercut that neighborhood. You're going to keep those values up because that's going to keep your value up. So that's the vesting what I'm talking about. So at minimum, you should be doing that. And then if you have other neighborhoods that you're interested in or reasons that you need to be there or are there, then farm those as well. Facebook groups. I'm going to touch a little bit on that because I think it's important. If you are farming a neighborhood, create a Facebook group and make the group about the neighborhood. Let them know that you've created a group for them or for us, including yourself, and you'll keep them updated on what's happening in the neighborhood in this Facebook group. So that's another piece of farming and a way to reach many people, and you don't have to go out as often into the actual neighborhood if you do the Facebook group. Make sure you're putting value on the page. Make sure that you're keeping them, engaged and connected. The thing I love about groups versus business pages is that you can have personal interaction with them, and they can have personal interaction with each other, which is really nice. So they can do that. The whole goal of farming a neighborhood is to create a community and to be a part of that community and to bring others into that community. And again, we'll talk about that later in another video. Business relationships is another big piece of lead generation. So if you are farming an area or you do work in a particular neighborhood, go out and introduce yourself to the business owners. Small business owners especially. The Home Depots don't really need you. The Costcos don't really need you. But the small businesses, especially through COVID, have suffered. And you're a small business yourself. So walk into a business, a local business, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Tracy. I'm a local realtor. I live in the neighborhood or work in the neighborhood. What can I do to help you grow your business? If you're coming from a place of contribution, you will shock them with that. I've done it myself personally, and the business owner typically will look at you and go, "What do you mean? What are you going to do for me? What is this going to cost me?" kind of thing. They know a lot of people, so creating a relationship with them it can be huge. I have an agent who did $20 million last year, and she did it by her business relationships. She over the last 3 years had built relationships with everybody in Strawberry Hill. And last year she closed over half of her business was with business owners. So don't forget the businesses. See what you can do to help them. Do a flyer, buy one, get one free. Have a community event where you have a fundraiser for harvesters or a local charity of some sort that is important to the neighborhood, and have that at a restaurant or a place of business. There's so many things that you can do with businesses, and you're not only touching the business owner, but you're touching everybody that they know. So your reach is going to be exponential by doing that. So don't forget the business owners for sure. And then finally, referrals. So, we'll recap this in a second, but if you're staying in touch with your people, if you're doing a great job, they say that if you have 40 people out there speaking your name, where they're referring business to you, you never have to pick up the phone again. And I know this to be true. At the end of my career selling real estate, I didn't call anybody. People were calling me and telling me to come list their house. There was no more interviews. I didn't have to work that hard at it because all of the years that I put into creating relationships with people got me those referrals. And we're going to do another video on referral groups because you can do that via social media as well. But kind of to recap, lead generation is about talking to people, finding your niche, finding your people, getting out there and talking to them without being salesy, and taking good care of them and creating relationships. Once you create those relationships, you get the referrals, which keeps your business going long term. I've sold the same home 5 or 6 times. I've sold homes to people that their children may have been 10 or 12 when I sold them their homes, and then their children grew up and bought homes from me. And that's because I stayed in touch with them. That's because they became a part of my circle. They became a part of my fan club, if you will. And they referred business to me throughout the years. I actually had one of my clients that was in the delivery room with my daughter because I couldn't be there in Arizona, and she was in the delivery room with my daughter. That's how close we got. And she started off as a client, but it's through the years and through all the business that we did, she became a great friend. So if you want a long-term business, you gotta lead generate, you gotta create relationships, and you've got to take care of your people.